Be seated.
I understand that there is a verdict. You may bring the jury. Thank you. Madam Forelady, if you'll stand for me. Have you reached a verdict?
Yes, sir, we have.
Is it unanimous?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, if you will pass it up to the clerk, who will pass it to me. And you may be seated. The defendant will rise. Madam Clerk, you may publish the verdict starting with the back, not with the, let's see, tell you again. Starting with the back, flipping them over one by one.
Okay.
State of South Carolina versus.
Docket number 2022 GS 15-00592, the State of South Carolina, County of Colleton, in the Court of General Sessions in the term of 2022, July, the State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant, indictment for murder, SC Code 16-3-0010, CDR Code 0116. You want me to turn it over? Okay. Guilty verdict, signed by the forelady, 3/2/23. Docket number 2022-GS-15-00593, the State of South Carolina, County of Colleton, in the Court of General Sessions, the July term of 2022. The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant, indictment for murder, SC Code 16-3-0010, CDR Code 0116, verdict guilty, signed by the forelady, date 3/2/23. Docket number 2022-GS15-00595, the State of South Carolina, County of Colleton, Court of General Sessions, July term 2022. The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. SC Code -16-23-0490, CDR Code 0549, verdict guilty, signed by the foreperson of the jury, date 3/2/23. Docket number 2022 GS-15-00594. The State of South Carolina, County of Colleton, Court of General Sessions, July term 2022. The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. SC Code 16-23-0490. CDR Code 0549. Verdict guilty. Signed by the foreperson of the jury, 3/2/23.
Thank you. Madam Forelady and members of the jury, if that is the verdict of each and every juror, please let it be known by raising your right hands. All right, thank you. Any individual polling requested?
We do, Your Honor.
Madam Clerk, you'll need to individually poll the jury according to their juror numbers.
Number 193. Was this your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 254.
Yep.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 326. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 530. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 544.
Yes.
Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 572. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 578. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 589. Was this your verdict? Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 630. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 729. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 826. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 864. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Your Honor, the jury has been polled.
Thank you. The jury has been polled and the verdict is a unanimous verdict. If you will bring the alternate juror out and have her have a seat in the audience, please. You can stand there or you can sit back there, whatever you prefer. Okay. Are there any post-trial motions?
None from the state, Your Honor.
Your Honor, we would just renew our previously argued motions for a directed verdict, and at this, on the grounds, on those grounds, we would make a motion for a mistrial and to set aside the verdict.
By the state, response.
Your Honor, based on our previous arguments, we would submit that the case properly went to the jury and the verdict is proper, and would rely on those arguments.
We've been here now 28 days, first few days of jury selection, and the remainder receiving testimony, an overwhelming amount of testimony and evidence that was presented to the jury for the jury's consideration. As I indicated to the jury during the jury charge, or the charge on the law, that this was a matter solely for the jury to determine. The court found at the end of the state's case that there's sufficient evidence to find the defendant guilty if the evidence was believed by the jury. Likewise, at the end of the defense's case, when the motion was renewed, the court found that the evidence was sufficient for the jury to find the defendant guilty. The jury has now considered the evidence for a significant period of time, and the evidence of guilt is overwhelming, and I deny the motion. Mr. Murdaugh, you now having been found guilty of 2 counts of murder involving your wife and your son, 2 counts of possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime, the burden now comes upon the court to impose a sentence. Given the lateness of the hour and the victim's rights that must be taken into consideration and complied with under the Victim's Bill of Rights, and consider what I would anticipate to be a number of people who might have something to say regarding sentencing, we will defer sentencing to a later date. Of course, the minimum sentence for murder is 30 years. The maximum sentence is life imprisonment as to each count. And on the weapons charge, the sentence is up to 5 years, or 5 years, which has to be concurrent if a life sentence is imposed. When would you all like to reconvene for sentencing? I would like to give everyone an adequate opportunity to prepare for it.
State will be ready at 9:30 in the morning, Your Honor.
We could do it at 9:30 tomorrow morning also.
All right. The defendant is remanded to the custody of the Colleton County Sheriff's Department. And he may be taken away. Madam Floor Lady and members of the jury, I want to thank you on behalf of the citizens of the state of South Carolina and your fellow citizens of Colleton County. You did not volunteer for this service. You were called upon by being summoned to appear, and Providence have brought you to this moment in time and these weeks in time. I know that all of you have been here at great sacrifice, particularly the juror whose job was on the line until a miracle happened, I guess, that allowed him to be able to leave rather than leave after 2 or 3 weeks. But I want to thank each one of you all individually and collectively. It's not often that you're called upon to sit in judgment of the actions of your fellow man, but you all responded and gave due consideration to the evidence. I will make no comment now as to the extent or the overwhelming nature of the evidence, but certainly the verdict that you've reached is supported by the evidence, circumstantial evidence, direct evidence, all of the evidence pointing to only one conclusion. That's the conclusion that you all reached. So I applaud you all for, as a group, and as a unit and individually, evaluating the evidence and coming to a proper conclusion as you saw the law, as you saw the facts. Now that you've served for the next year, you're not eligible to serve again. Now, of course, many people never get called upon, but you're not eligible for the next year, and for 2 additional years, you can be exempted from service because no person is required to serve on jury duty in this court more often than once every 3 years. Tomorrow morning at 9:30, we will reconvene for sentencing. You all have no role in that because that's solely up to the judge, to me. You're welcome to come back if you want to and be a part of the audience if you like. I also want to thank the alternate juror who was locked away in a room by herself for these hours, who's hung in there during that period of time. I want to thank you as well. Madam Clerk, what do you have to tell your jurors?
Thank you for your service and what the judge said as well. And I think we can release them tonight and bring them back in the morning.
No, they're off jury duty. They can come back if they like. And you don't have to if you don't want to. Typically, I've seen jurors wanting to see the end result of a case once they've invested a lot into it. It's really an amazing thing with juries. Quite often, at the start of the case, jurors are really like, whoa, why am I here? I wish I wasn't selected. But as time passes and the jurors become invested and really committed to the case and committed to seeing it through, and are very disappointed when they are not able to see it to a conclusion. And then along the way of serving, you end up finding out quite a bit about our judicial system and learning quite a bit, well, about human nature for sure, but also about the presentation of evidence and hearing from expert witnesses and really learning a lot of things that you'll be able to take with you when you leave jury duty. And to Madam Forelady, I don't know if you were hesitant initially or not, but you have stepped up to the plate and done a great job of leading the jury as well. And thank all of you. So the jury is dismissed. Now, one thing before you go, of course, we have invested a lot in maintaining the privacy of the jury, of each one of you. And you are free at this point to discuss the case with anyone. Given the high-profile nature of the case, I'm certain that the many people in the media will probably want to communicate with you, but they have no means of contacting you because under order that I issued, the identity of the jurors must be kept private. And if you decide that you want to speak with anyone, local, state, nationally, or internationally, that's your prerogative. However, should anyone harass you, please let me know and I will address those issues. If anyone through the somehow or another discover your identity and harass you, and rest assured I will intercede on your behalf. That having been said, you are free to communicate with whomever you might want to concerning the case from now on. And so with that, thank you, and you all are free to go.
Judge, if I could
Yes.
if I could have you go to the jury room, and I'm going to meet you back there for just a few minutes.
All right.
Gather your little ones.
As is my practice, I'll speak with the foreperson before you leave the building after talking to them back there. Anything else? Be in recess till 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Room, he was perhaps the most impacted by all of this. As for Maggie's family, not hearing any word, any reaction they have, I know her parents are elderly. One of them has been ill of late, so our thoughts are with her family tonight as well. But in a situation where you have one family member killing two others, it's a different moment, because you're always looking for a sense of justice for the victims, but that picture wasn't necessarily painted inside that courtroom, Michael, and it was a little different, right? Because the victims and the defendants, all the same family. And I'm wondering, for the public absolutely overwhelmingly here at the courthouse believed Alex Murdaugh was guilty, and I think they were there hoping for justice in this case. But it's a little bit of a different moment.
It absolutely is. And I hadn't even been thinking about that aspect until the judge mentioned that he thought there would be a lot of victims who would want to have a say in the sentencing. And my mind went right to where you were talking about, Buster. Would he have something to say? Maybe he'll speak on behalf of his dad. Absolutely. He continues, or at least one would think, continues to support him. John Marvin, clearly supporting him throughout the trial. We also know, as you mentioned, Maggie's family. And again, I just want to reiterate, our hearts go out to everyone, all the sort of people who are impacted by this crime. And it is unique because it is a family member killing other family members. Family members clearly probably took sides on some level. Don't know what impact it had as far as that is concerned. But let me tell you, Vinny, and I want to get your opinion on this. One thing that stood out to me was how opinionated Judge Clifton Newman was about the evidence. You don't see that all the time. He told this jury that as far as he was concerned, and he said it in open court as well, the evidence of guilt was overwhelming. He thought they made the right decision. You don't always see that. From time to time you do. Generally, the judge doesn't opine on that as much. What did you think about that?
Well, he has to rule on the motions, right, before the verdict, after the state's case, and you rule on the motion after the verdict as well. So he has to address it, but he's in the courtroom, and let me tell you, he's paying attention to every word that is spoken. But it's a powerful signal to this jury that, hey, you know what, folks? The judge heard it the same way you did. So that's a fascinating part of all of this. Alex Murdaugh, for him, it didn't seem like there was a ton of reaction. outward. He was able to still stand. I thought he might be a little weak-kneed at that moment, but he was able to stand. He knows the decorum in the courtroom, but you could tell that he was impacted by it. And the thing I always look for, Michael, is someone who's factually innocent, right? Someone who did not do it, someone who has been wrongfully accused and at that moment would be wrongfully convicted. How would they act? How would they react? I didn't see anything from him that told me, like, this is outrageous. You know what I mean, Michael? Like, I've seen that before, but I didn't see it from him.
I've seen the gamut, Vinny. I've seen where you've had to pull the defendant out kicking and screaming because he's yelling at the jury that they got it wrong and they didn't do it. I've also seen instances where innocent people have been released from prison because they'd been exiled or exonerated, and they were as calm as we saw Alex Murdaugh today. And I've always been fascinated by that. Yeah. How can someone who is not guilty of a crime get convicted of that crime and not respond by kicking and screaming and yelling at the jury that I'm innocent? There is something that goes on. You and I have clearly never been in the position of being charged with a crime where our liberty could be taken away in that way. But something happens when you're sitting in that seat over a period of time where maybe you come to terms with those things. But again, in this instance, I agree with the judge. The evidence was overwhelming. Maybe this man that we're looking at right there is in fact guilty. And maybe tonight, for the first time in a long time, he gets a good night's sleep because he's been convicted of a crime that in his mind he might be trying to get away with, but he knows he did.
And he knows what the rest of his life will be.
Exactly.
I've got Chanley Painter with me. She was inside the courtroom for this moment. Things are moving very quickly here at Court TV. We haven't even had time to check all the technical aspects of this, but folks back at Court TV, let me know if we can't hear Chanley. Chanley, describe the moment for us.
Well, Vinny, of course, we filed in the courtroom, and you could feel the sense of urgency, anxiousness. You know, Alex Murdaugh comes in the courtroom before we know his fate, his family. Not everyone was able to make it there on time for the reading of the verdict, but we did see his sister and his surviving son, Buster. And Vinny, the jury files in. I'm always watching to see if they look towards the defendant, and I only saw one after he sat down in the jury box glance over towards Alex Murdaugh as he stood for the verdict. The gallery had been warned. No reaction, no sound, nothing. And you could not hear anything as the clerk started to read the verdict. It was virtually silent, no reaction from the jurors' faces as the verdict was read. I had my eyes, you could see Buster there. Even before the jury entered, you could tell Lynn, his sister, was emotional. Brooklyn, Buster's girlfriend, had a tissue as well. But we haven't seen a lot of emotion out of Buster, and I was right behind him almost, and I was looking, I could see his eyes when he turned to look at his aunt, Lynn, and I did sense a difference in his eyes, Vinny, that he was clearly affected by the guilty verdict, and Alex Murdaugh as well. I think the chilling moment came when he was handcuffed. He had to turn his back towards the judge. He turned around to the deputy, and I could see his face for the first time. And he looked directly at Buster, and he mouthed, "I love you."
Wow.
And then you could hear the clanking of the clasping of the handcuffs. It's just silent in there. And he turns back around, he walks out, he has to pass the jury that just sent him to prison for up to the rest of his life.
Unbelievably, that moment where he's turning to his son, because imagine this is the moment he's turning to his son, and the jury has just told that young man that his father murdered his mother and his brother, took away half their family, and now they're never going to be able to have any sort of normalcy in terms of a father-son relationship because his father's going to be behind bars. He's been behind bars, but he'll remain there for the rest of his life. I mean, 30 years is going to be the rest of his life, perhaps. If he gets the minimum, he very well could get the maximum. And he still has other charges, so I don't see him coming out of prison at any time. Was there anyone there for Maggie's family? Was the sister there? Because I know they're from out of state. They don't even live around
I didn't
here.
see
them.
the sister, Miss Marion Proctor.
And the sentencing will be tomorrow, so if she wants to speak,
She has a right.
She has a right to come down tomorrow. And when she testified, I didn't feel like she was out to get Alec or anyone.
She
was,
hugged Buster, on the way out of the courtroom. It's a very difficult, hard situation because the victims are related to the defendant.
Yeah, it's a strange dynamic. Michael, I want to give you an opportunity because we've got Shanley here. I know you have questions for her as well because she has the firsthand look, the feel inside the courtroom for this incredibly dramatic moment.
Yeah, Shanley, I've always wondered, you've been in the courtroom, you've looked at Buster throughout. Do you get any sense at all? Because there were a couple of interviews done with court watchers, trial watchers out there, talking about before trial, there was a lot of joviality. They would be laughing and joking, but the minute the judge entered and things changed, then suddenly we see a somber Alex, a somber Buster. Is that a fair assessment of their connection throughout this trial, that there seemed to be still a connection, strong connection, between father and son, but then when trial started, things got a little different?
Yeah, you could sense in the courtroom, and Vinny, you've been in there as well, when our cameras can't roll, the judge is in on the bench, and the family's hanging out for a recess or a break, and they're normal people. They've gone on with their lives in a way, and they smile still at each other. But it wasn't a consistent, jovial. There would be times that they would be very serious and comfort each other during the breaks or the recess. And when Alex Murdaugh entered, I remember the very first day we were here for jury selection, and Alex Murdaugh entered that first day, and he was able to touch, his sister's hand in the gallery before all the strict rules were really set in the gallery, and since that time, they were moved back a couple of rows from Alec, but he would still turn and look towards them, and when he would enter the courtroom before court would start, and he would mouth something like "I love you" or give a nod to the family. But Alec Murdaugh he would smile, and he would visit with his deputies that were guarding him during the breaks, and then of course be serious with his attorney sitting there. But we see that a lot, Benny, with defendants inside of a courtroom.
Yeah, the other part of this dynamic, which is so different in this case, his brother John Marvin, who's an incredibly nice person, like to meet, and he's very warm to everyone, even people who you are on the other side, and people who have analyzed the case, whether it's me or others, or he's just very cordial. And wants to know everybody and says hello, shakes your hand,
Yes.
Which again was another interesting part of this dynamic, because I've been in courtrooms where the defendant's family, the media is the enemy. Mm-hmm. We don't want to look at you, we don't want to talk to you, but you didn't get that. You didn't get that from John Marvin, and the rest of the family was a little bit more reserved, but not giving you dirty looks, because we've gotten that. We get that all the time, because a lot of times they look at the media in the same way they look at the prosecutor, and they look at other folks who have made up their minds, etc., as the enemy. But it was different, but the thing that still sticks to me is what's going to happen tomorrow morning. Will there even be a victim impact statement from anyone? Will anyone speak for Maggie? I don't know. I think people will speak for Alec.
Absolutely.
I think that's a given. I don't know. What does Buster do tomorrow? Does he just remain silent? Does he speak up for his dad? He can't speak up for his dad and not still talk about the loss of his mother. After watching the documentaries that have been made about this family, you may have thoughts about Buster or the whole family, but I look at this young man and I can't imagine his world, his life at this moment. And you could say what you want or think what you want about the family. His mother was shot and killed. His brother's brains were blown out. And now you've had 12 people from his own community who have told him that his dad did it. I don't think you'll ever be able to convince him necessarily that his father did it. Maybe he will believe that, or maybe even does. I don't know. But it's such a tough spot to be in. And I think all of us should just take a moment, regardless of what you think about the family or have heard about them, and just think about the world that this young man has to live in now.
Yeah, Vinny,
You
you're
can't
right.
imagine it.
His reality, you mentioned this earlier, his reality will never be the same. Never. And I've been sitting here thinking, what might he do tomorrow? And if he does choose to speak, he's got 3 people he loves. And he's probably going to talk about all 3. That would be the only way to bring some closure for him. He may continue to support his dad. He certainly would want the world to know what beautiful people his mother and brother were. He talked about them on the stand when he testified. But as we look at him, it's an impossible situation to be in. And I have no idea what he'll do tomorrow. That'll be one of the things we'll be looking out for sure.
Absolutely. All right, we've got a lot to cover tonight. We are live at the courthouse. We're not going anywhere. We're awaiting a press conference. We may hear from prosecutors. We may hear from the defense. We may hear from the family. We don't know. But whoever speaks, you'll hear them right here on Court TV, your front row.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You good, Marshall? 1, 2, 3. Good, Ross. Yep.
John, give me a test order.
Okay, check 1, 2. Mic check for everybody. Mic check for everybody. Going through for everybody. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Give me thumbs up. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Thumbs up. 20, 21. Thumbs up. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Going up to 40, 32, 33. Oh, nice catch. 34, 35. Secondary stand.
Secondary stand.
36. Just take care of.
Yeah, take care of this
Channel
one right
4.
here. Yep.
Yeah,
Wrap this
secondary
around.
stand over there.
Secondary stand, come on up. Find a spot,
Okay.
y'all.
Yep, y'all just hang.
Y'all just hang, everybody.
Let's put it, slide it over this way.
Which way?
Let's slide-
way?
Or yeah, yeah, but just turn it this way. So
Yeah, just hopefully you know it's going to walk this way.
Hang there.